Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling. As you see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today, where we'll be chillaxing as per usual. And then I'll be recording some Talos Prince after this, and then we'll see. Because then, hopefully, by the time it gets to the weekend, I will have done all of that recording for... Oh, that's only next week. I need to do another week as well. Oh my god. How much recording do I need to do? Basically, I did, I need to do quite a bit of recording over the next week or so, which is fine. Like, it's not a huge amount. Let me think. I'll be gone Friday. Hold on, we'll get into this. Good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow at 7:32 p.m. on Friday, May 31st, 2024. I'll be gone from next Friday up to the Friday after. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days of pre-recorded things. I mean, I guess theoretically, if push came to shove, I could record on the day of Friday itself. I'm not going to probably do that because that seems like a bad idea. But that seems doable because like I basically got most of, well, not most of next week. I've got a decent amount of next, and by a decent amount, I mean 2 videos next week recorded. So don't be surprised if I get some very quick Happy and Paradise episodes in and they're recorded at like 1 a.m. or something. I don't know. That's just how a cookie crumbles, to be honest. What we get up to yesterday? Yesterday we played a lot of Rainbow Six Siege, to be perfectly honest. It's a fun game, having a blast of it, to be honest. I'm glad other people having a blast, but that's like not new news here. Let's see what's going on in the world of Neopets. I painted my Bunny Woodland, and I do have a Valentine paintbrush, so I could paint my Drake Valentine. I'm just waiting for June to come around so then I can make my Kyrie and then paint her Royal Girl, because I have a royal paintbrush ready. And then that's like my 7 initial Neopets done. And I have 2 more on a different account, which I need to transfer to this account once I get like more Neopet slots or something. And then I need to have 5 more in the 5 more that I want, for a grand total of 14 pets. And then I'll probably be done. Then I probably need to actually start customizing them or something. But anyway, what's it called? Oh no, we don't need to even check weekly quest. I forgot because we're getting a Marowak. When you might be like, what on earth are you talking about? You're talking in a foreign language essentially to me, and I'd be like, Dapchia, Bauchiana. As I just immediately forgot what I was doing. Probably nothing of particular note. Anyway, what should we talk about today? Great question. One I don't have an answer to, but I'm spinning my head as I'm spinning the wheel of misfortune as well, trying to think of something which conversation you can take up our conversational time today. As I drop my wrist rest on the floor. Yeah, what we can talk about today. Not really sure, to be honest. I just got like a lot of recording and a lot of like drawing to basically be doing over the next weekend and week or so. So I had to see how that particularly pans out. Hopefully, won't be too bad. Whoa, we have a lot of fossils in our inventory. I forgot because we did the treasure hunt with Lily, and then we didn't return. And then she was like, "Where did you go?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that's what you said." Hey, wait a minute. I've got the wrong pet as my active pet. You might be like, what does that mean? Again, sorry, I'm still playing Neopets over here, so... okay. Are there any, like, game news that came out recently? I'm trying to think about it. I mean, there's, like, Siege news about the next operation of next season, which came out. I don't know, Siege is an interesting place, because right now I think a lot of people are just like, oh, Siege is dying or whatever. But really, me and my friends are, like, only, like, now either getting into it or re-getting into it. So hearing it's dying sounds like kind of strange. How do I make this pet my... There we go, my active pet. There you go. You might be like, why necessarily? I don't know. It kind of depends, I suppose. Maybe for some people it's like lore reasons or whatever. You might be like, Siege has lore, and Siege does have lore. It's interesting because it started out as a game with very sort of like minimal lore. The only lore I'd say it really had would be just like, it's, they're forming this like this unit, this counter-terrorist unit, I suppose, to come together to take down, worldwide threats, and it was made up of like 4 different countries, like best operatives or something. That's basically like the Siege lore in a nutshell. And then like it was just like, more countries, operators start coming in, and they have like personalities and interests and stuff like that. And then like at some point they start trying to inject more lore in, I remember. What I remember is Dokabe's release, which is like when I actually started being interested in Siege, was around White Noise. And for whatever reason, Dokebi's like flavor story has her like drinking Mountain Dew or something and hacking into like Rainbow Six's like archives or something, and she goes I don't know, it's very much like Hacker Voice I'm in, from what I recall. I don't know if it still exists, maybe that's a figment of my imagination, but that's very much what sort of sticks in my mind. And then people were just like, what on earth is this? Oh, I need to buy, I forgot, I was meant to buy a grooming item. And then I don't know, there's law. Then they did like this whole tournament arc thing, which is just like wild. And most people were just like, this makes no sense. Well, it was basically meant to be like, because Rainbow Six is meant to be like a sequel. Well, I haven't read like the Tom Clancy books or anything, so correct me if I'm wrong. But they're meant to be like a secret group, a secret organization who are just like behind the scenes, take down world-ending threats, etc., etc., etc. But then like they have this like whole tournament arc where they like very publicly show off like for other people to like, and have these like friendly competitions in between each other, which was very strange. It's like, I don't know, rightfully so, most people were like, why are they like even trying to get into the public eye in the first place? It seems bizarre, instead of doing like actual operation things. So that was a weird arc, I suppose. And then they had like this like Civil War arc where, that's the only way I can describe it, where like they started introducing operators from like a private organization called Nighthaven, and then they were like, Nighthaven operate very differently from what I recall, and then they just like splintered off like for groups. Like some people went to Nighthaven like and left Rainbow Six, and Rainbow Six themselves got like split into different groups as well, different squads essentially. And then from there, I think that's basically where the story. No, hold on. And then like there was meant to be this whole Civil War thing, because it was just like, oh, they think that Nighthaven like assassinated, like are doing these actual like straight up crimes and stuff. And then what happened after that? Turns out it wasn't Nighthaven, and then like Rainbow Six was like, hey, stay out of it, Nighthaven. And then I don't know what happened to Nighthaven now. And then like Deimos came around, and he was just like murdering people. And but now he's been captured or something, and he's now on the Rainbow Six team, which is wild. Kind of like redeeming the villains, I suppose, in some sense. Which is I don't know, hit or miss. I'd perfectly say, and I would say it's not quite to my taste to have a civil war in between all the operators in Rainbow Six. At least to me, part of the appeal of Rainbow Six is the fact that this is basically the creme de la creme of like the best operators all coming together to all work and do these great operations. I guess if anything, it's like a tactical superhero movie. But to be fair, that might not be actually what Rainbow Six's like lifeblood is about, because I don't know. I've never read of the original Tom Clancy books or anything like that. That's just how I like it, I suppose. Which is why it appeals to me. Which is why I like the Civil War stuff. Is like meh on my end. Mainly because maybe it's because there's not as much as a balanced view from my perspective on the Civil War thing. You might be like, who do I think was in right, Ash or Carly? And I'm like, 100% Ash. It's crazy. To me, I'm not like an operator, I suppose, so perhaps it's not really my place to say, but the tension sort of hinges on the fact in this play fight arena thing, this tournament arc. There's like two teams fighting each other, one of Ash's team and Ash and Carly on the same team, that's it. And Ash and Dokebi are pinned down, and Carly was meant to be giving like covering fire for them so that they can like help out, like a teammate would. But then instead Carly starts opening up the walls to use them as bait to get kills or something in the match, which is insane to me. Like it makes sense from like, I guess, a fun tournament perspective, but it's absolutely insane for like on the field work, in my opinion. Again, I don't work in these sort of like agencies or anything like that. I'm not like a trained operator, I suppose, and with martial or firearm combat, but that seems insane. Like to employ any strategy which is like, okay, use your own allies as bait to do something like like forcibly as bait, and have like take the shot even though your allies in like the line of fire or something. Sort of like humanity should probably try and like come first, otherwise like what's the point of trying to preserve it, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, so in my opinion, Nighthaven's entire thing is like kind of crazy, and I don't even know what's happened with him now. You can tell that I've watched like a Rainbow Six Siege like lore video, because I wanted to catch up, because when I stopped playing it was just like, oh, there's like new operators coming in and they're doing stuff, Actually, the last time I came in, there was like a whole zombie invasion, which is like non-canon or something. But then it's like Civil War stuff, and I was like, what? I don't know. People probably like find it decently interesting. And Deimos at least is an interesting enough villain. But it's interesting when like these games have, I suppose, lore to the extent that you don't even realize. Like I gotta give credit where credit due, of like trying to, you know, make lore, create the lore, and actually like explain the in-universe happenings of it, because it doesn't really make sense. Rainbow Six Siege, like the versus AI stuff does make sense. You know, you create a squadron, as a team of 5, and you go in and you take down like mobs AI who are posing as like threats to civilization and things like that. That makes perfect sense. But then the competitive like multiplayer aspect doesn't make sense. Like, why would 5 of the operators fight another 5 of the operators on the same team? And how can it like even make sense realistically? And then I guess that's what the tournament arc was meant to do. Was meant to be like, oh, this is why it makes sense, is because there's technology. They have this basically advanced technology where like, if you get shot, it would basically like sort of, I was gonna say paralyzed, but not in like a permanent literal sense. It would just make you like freeze and tense up to simulate like a ragdoll, that sort of thing. Of course, there's still inherent dangers with it, but it means that things are not meant to be like straight up lethal, right? Which, I don't know, I'm sort of of two minds about it, because sometimes I'm just like, oh, games don't need to explain that necessarily, because at least in this aspect, you know, I don't think there needs to be a reason for this to happen. They could just, you know, the lore-wise can follow them like being saving a world against operations, and like where these operations they partake in and things, and then their combat training could, I don't know, be drills or whatever. Which is, I guess, technically what they did, but, you know, this whole tournament art behind it is a bit much as well, isn't it? In my opinion. But like at the same time, I don't know if Siege needs that much lore, you know. This is someone who's very lore driven as well. You know, I like lore, I like stories, and I like characters in games and that sort of thing. But to me, I don't know, Siege, I'm not saying we should like destroy the lore, because it probably means something to people out there. And I don't think, you know, people like to say Siege has, no, not people like to say, I guess people within the community, if you have like a, well, I'd say, oh, Siege has a worse lore in any video game, which is an insane take. Like, even as an exaggerated take, it's pretty insane, because it's not like, Siege lore is just mostly just like fine, I would guess, with some weirdness here and there. Like, I wouldn't say it's like, I don't look at Siege's lore and be like, this is an absolute trash. I just sort of look at it and be like, okay, you know. But people like hyperbole, and me, I suppose, technically within that, I'm doing my own strawman representation, because I don't really have empirical proof that people are saying that, to be honest. So you just sort of take me at my word, which is perhaps a dangerous thing to be doing. Oh, it's a coat. I was like, I thought it was like a crop top or something. I couldn't figure out what I was looking at. I was like, this game does not have a crop top. Yeah. So that's what's going on with like Siege lore, that sort of thing. I don't know. I guess unsurprisingly, me being character focused, I tend to be more interested in like, oh, what are these characters' personalities like, and that sort of thing. But then also, I don't really like partake with that much of Siege lore in the first place. So who really knows? But, you know, the flavour, it's nice to know that the flavour is there, I think, so I always appreciate it. Oh no, that's what I was saying, it was the explanation of, like, in-game mechanics to the actual lore. Valorant actually does it in a very interesting way. As I understand, Valorant lore is basically there's the Alpha universe and there's, like, the Omega universe or something. There's, like, a parallel dimension thing going on where one universe or world has, like, an abundance of like this resource, and then the other world has like a deficit of this resource. So then what's happening is like everyone is like clones of each other or something, and it's one universe trying to extract the resource from the other like universe, essentially. And it's, you know, at first it's like the ones who are defending a resource are like, oh, they're the good guys, but then it's like a bit more ambiguous as like time goes on, because it's, you know, it turns out they're trying to like stave off like a literal apocalypse, and it's like, what else would you do in that scenario? Something like that. I don't know. Anyway, Valorant animatics go pretty cool. Actually, Siege animatics go pretty cool as well when they have like the teasers for the character. Those have always been my favourite parts. Which ones have the best teasers? It's a good question. Alibis goes pretty hard. Duckabies is also really good. Mutes is really good. Trying to remember if else is a good one. I just remember the KBs because she just goes, "Your phone is ringing. Here, let me get that for you." I'm like, I mean, they all follow this same sort of similar style of obviously making the operator look as cool as possible, essentially. And they have like this sort of like one-liner thing, which is fair, I guess. But I don't know. Anyway, so like explaining in-game mechanics with real-life lore is always very interesting. League of Legends actually did it as well. Like, if you started playing League recently, you might not know this, but the old League lore, like from like when it was conceived, is that League of Legends was literal like I was gonna say agency. That's the wrong word. It was like an organization where basically the different factions of different countries in Runeterra, that's the League of Legends world, were, if they have conflicts or war with each other, instead of having full-out wars, which, you know, can lead to a lot of devastation of land and life, they would hold like simulated wars within this League of Legends or something, where they, like, people would have their own champions, which would be controlled by these summoners, you know, who like summoned them, I suppose, in the first place to fight out these smaller scale battles, and then that would be used to determine, I guess, who wins or loses. It's a bit of a strange concept, I suppose, when you say it like that, but I think that was the overall idea. But yeah, there's this whole other concept of like a summoner who is detached from a champion in the first place. But now that's been abstracted a lot more. Like they got rid of a whole summoner concept in the first place, and now it's just characters themselves, which, to be fair, I think is fine. Like, you don't need a summoner. You don't need like your self-insert, I think, for League of Legends, I suppose. People are much more focused on the characters, not like a sort of nameless entity who is theoretically controlling the characters and gives it this sort of like a weird meta sense to it at the same time. But at the same time, I guess it also, you know, removes them what on earth like League of Legends match even is. It's meant to be them fighting, but how do they respawn? How does stuff like that work? I don't know. It's all an abstraction, I suppose, at the end of the day. But, you know, credit where credit due is due, where they try and explain nonsensical things, I suppose, within the lore itself, right? You know what? Let's make a fun of that. What's the easiest way to do that? Probably less like unreliable narrator stuff or something. You know, like, I'm trying to think of a good one. The Binding of Isaac's kind of like that, right? Where it's just like all of it is in the mind of like this 6-year-old or something. I mean, Binding of Isaac's got pretty like sad lore, to be perfectly honest. But it's like all in the mind of a child, I suppose. So everything is quite sort of like representative in that sense. Which is fascinating, I think, in its own right. Of course, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I don't really remember what I was going to say about that. In-game mechanical lore. I guess I'm trying to think what the title of this episode. I don't know. Let's do grey. Brush size. What's this? 9. Don't remember what I was talking about before, but as we have a jump cut, so I'm just going to round this episode off here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see you again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now. Very abrupt.